Hello, my name is Ryan Milot. I'm a solutions engineer with Aon Nexus Corporation, and today I'd like to show you some of the basics of Microsoft Dynamics CRM 2015. I'm going to start by showing you where you can go into the settings to open a solution. We have already imported a solution called Miami-Dade Savior. This is where I'm going to show you how to create a new entity, how to manipulate forms and views for that entity and publish those customizations. I'll also show you where you can add fields to that entity. I will show you then how to create a workflow process and run that workflow in real time versus running in the background. I'll also show you how to create a new record within an entity, and then I will go on to reporting through the reporting wizard. So to start, this is your dynamic menu. If you hover over Microsoft's Dynamics CRM in the upper left, you can see these are your options. We're going to start by going into the settings, which is where you can manipulate all the settings for your CRM application, including solutions. So this is a breadcrumb style menu up here, where the last link that you clicked ends up being displayed. By default, business management is displayed, but if you click on settings, you can see these are all the options within your settings menu. I'm going to go ahead and click solutions, and again, this is the Miami-Dade Savior solution that we've already imported, and this is what I'm going to manipulate for this demonstration. So go ahead and double click on that, and this opens the solution editor window, and here you can see all the components of your Dynamics CRM solution. Specifically, right now we're concerned with entities, and an entity is basically an object that you can manipulate within the CRM solution. You can store information about that entity, and you can have multiple records within an entity. So let's start by creating a new entity. So I click new, click entity, and I'm going to call this demo entity. We'll give it a plural name here for the system, and I'm going to leave most everything as the default. We should always add a very accurate description for each entity. I'm going to select that I'd like to view this within the service menu, and I would also like to allow quick create. I'd also like to allow this to be viewed on a phone or a tablet, and everything else I'm going to leave as the default. So I'm going to go ahead and save and close that. And while it's creating that entity, you can see here these are some of the characteristics of the new entity called demo entity that we're able to manipulate. Like I said, I'm going to show you also how to manipulate forms and views for an entity. So over here now we have demo entity that has been created, and again here you can see these are the characteristics that I was just describing that you're able to manipulate for this entity. We're going to start by manipulating the fields. I'd like to add a couple fields to this entity. It already has some out-of-the-box fields, but I want to make some custom fields. So right now we're viewing all. I'm going to make some custom. You do that by creating a new field right here with the new button. And I'm going to call this demo field 1. Oops. We'll make this a required field, and I'll describe a little bit about that later. Demo field 1 is required, and really you want to give it a better description than that, but just for this demonstration, we're going to make this a single line of text. You do have several options for the data type of the entity, and everything else here I'm going to leave as the default. We're going to go ahead and do a save and close on that. And now we have a new custom field within this entity. I'm going to go ahead and add demo field 2. We'll leave that as an optional field. Demo field 2 is optional. I'm going to go ahead and make this a whole number field just to differentiate between the two. And in the format, we'll leave that as none. Leave it as a simple field with all the other default values. I'm going to go ahead and save and close that now. So now you can see we have two new fields, demo field 1 and demo field 2. Those are the only custom fields. So let's go back, change the view filter to all. And this is now all the out-of-the-box fields as well as my two new demo fields right here, 1 and 2. And a field will be displayed on a form. So next let's manipulate the form for this demo entity. Because we selected to allow this for phones and tablets, we have both a main form and a mobile form. You would have to manipulate both of these to make any changes based upon your customization. But for this demonstration, I'm only going to manipulate the main form, which is viewable in a web browser on a computer. Right here is going to be the form that is later viewed for either data entry or manipulation. And you can see here demo fields 1 and demo fields 2 have been created, and those are drag and drop. So let's drag those wherever you want. Just know that if you double click on the form, you can modify the way the form is viewed, whether you want it to be visible by default or not. You can change the layout, the column widths, etc. It's highly customizable. For right now, I'm going to cancel that, and we'll leave just these two new fields on there. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and do a save and close on that. Okay, and back here, we can publish all customizations. Now within the form you can publish just the customizations to this form via the publish button right there, or for the whole system, all the components, you can publish all customizations. Now if you've only made manipulations to one particular entity, it would be beneficial to just publish customizations to that entity. Otherwise, if you have made multiple customizations across several entities, it would be beneficial to use the publish all customizations. Okay, so now that we have added a couple new fields and added those fields to the main form, let's change the way our default view of the entity is displayed. So you have several views out of the box for the demo entity. I'm going to change the default public view. To do so, just double click on that, and here you can see these are the out of the box fields that are going to be displayed on the form with for this view, for the default view. So right here I want to add a couple columns. I want to add specifically demo field 1 and demo field 2. So once we add those fields, you can see they are now being displayed for this view. Each of these you can modify the properties. Just to show you that, I'm going to expand these to 200 pixels. And let's select demo field 2, change the properties of that. We'll make that 200 pixels as well. And then we'll save and close that. Okay, right here, don't forget to publish all customizations after you've made those changes. And now let's go back and view the changes that we have made. Okay, now that the system is done publishing those changes, we're going to go ahead back into CRM, and don't forget to refresh your browser window to pick up all the customizations that you have just published. So I made the 2 new fields and the demo entity. I made those available through the service menu. So if we hover over CRM and click service, now if we hover over service, we can see here by scrolling all the way to the right, we have demo entities. So if I double click on that, this here is a view. This is actually the default view, and you have a couple out of the box views that are available. You can also create personal views right here where you can customize the way you're seeing your data. But for now, let's just leave it as the default active demo entities view. You do have some filters that you could apply if there were data in here, but right now there's currently no records available in this view. So to create a new record, click this new button in the upper left, and now you're being brought to the form, the main form that we had previously manipulated. So if we come back into the editor window and we go to forms and we open the main form, you'll see that this mirrors what we're seeing on the new demo entity. We have the name, the owner, demo field 1 and 2, and a notes section. Of course, we didn't make any changes, so I'm just going to close that, but just know that that is where this information is manipulated. So this is demo record 1, and this is field 1, and that's a required field. The red asterisk denotes that. And demo field 2 is a whole number field, so we'll just call that 50. So we're going to go ahead and save and close that. And now you can see that this new record has been created. And like I said, you have some filters that you can apply. To do so, you would just click on that down arrow, and you can filter by month, by date, you can filter by the ordering, or whether or not it contains data, etc.